Welcome to our latest video. Today it's all about the Husqvarna FE450. We'll break down what makes this four-stroke enduro icon so capable, where it hits its limits in everyday use, and who it's actually worth buying for. This isn't about barstool numbers. It's about what matters out on the trail. Throttle response, traction, real-world maintenance, and the common items you should check before handing over your money. As our example, we're looking at a current FE450 with electronic fuel injection, an electric starter, and WP Explore suspension. Exactly the setup a lot of riders run off-road. The video is presented by Motorize.da, your go-to source for new and used spare parts. If you're thinking about moving up from a 350 or you're hunting for a 450 for enduro, stick around. Gern, mir fehlt nur der eigentliche Text. Bitte poste den deutschen Voice-Over-Text für Szene 2. Dann übersetze ich ihn idiomatisch, natürlich und ansprechend ins Englische. When Husqvarna really hit its stride again under KTM's leadership in 2014, the FE450 quickly became the go-to choice for riders who want strong pull from down low, rather than chasing revs all day. Over the years, the idea was refined with purpose. Lighter, more centralized, more precise. A major leap came with the generation starting in model year 2017, when the frame and engine layout grew noticeably more compact and the weight bias moved forward, something you feel most in tight switchbacks. In 2019, many versions received the WP Explore 48 fork with split functions between the legs, making suspension tuning far simpler. True to Husqvarna, the composite polyamide aluminum subframe remained. It saves weight, integrates the airbox, and takes the sting out of impacts. The result? The FE450 stayed beefy, just far more controlled. Gern. Bitte sende mir den deutschen Voice-Over-Text für Szene 4, den Inhalt nach den 3 Strichen. Dann übersetze ich ihn ins Englische, idiomatisch und ansprechend. At its heart is a liquid-cooled single-cylinder with 449.9 cc, a single overhead cam, and electronic fuel injection. Starting is handled by an electric starter, and shifting by a 6-speed gearbox, short enough off-road for tricky technical climbs, yet tall enough on liaison sections that you're not instantly bouncing off the limiter. The chassis is built around a chromoly steel frame, paired with Husqvarna's signature composite rear subframe, which not only saves weight but also integrates the airbox. Suspension is a familiar highlight. Up front, the P-Explore 48 USD fork, at the rear, a P-Exact shock, both fully adjustable. Braking comes via hydraulic disc brakes. Depending on model year, you'll find Brembo or Nissan components. The result? Strong, punchy drive you can modulate with confidence. Gern, mir fehlt nur der eigentliche Text. Bitte füge den deutschen Voice-Over-Text für Szene 6 hier ein oder lade ihn als Datei hoch. Dann übersetze ich ihn idiomatisch, natürlich und ansprechend ins Englische. Visually, the FE450 is less about show and more about purpose. Slim lines, crisp edges, everything designed for freedom of movement. Even more important, though, is how it feels. The narrow contact at the radiator shrouds makes it easier to regrip the bike while standing, and the transition from tank to seat stays flat. Crucial when you're constantly shifting forward and back on the trail. One genuinely practical touch is the integrated airbox in the composite rear subframe. It's quick to access for servicing, which is pure gold after dusty days. Meanwhile, the chromoly frame delivers a precise front-end feel without making the bike seem bulky. Overall, you sit centered in the motorcycle rather than perched on top. Exactly what you need in ruts, grooves, and when flicking it through tight switchbacks. Gern, mir fehlt nur der eigentliche Text von Szene 8. Bitte füge den deutschen Voice-Over-Text hier ein, dann übersetze ich ihn idiomatisch, natürlich und ansprechend ins Englische. On the trail, the FE450 feels like a tool. Grab it, get to work, keep moving forward. The 449.9 cc 4-stroke pulls cleanly from low revs, taking the stress out of technical sections. You can run one gear higher and still climb with control. The 6-speed gearbox suits enduro riding perfectly. Precise and easy to meter in the lower gears, with enough in reserve up top for fast stretches. Up front, the WP Explore 48 and the WP Exact shock in the rear respond with real sensitivity, yet stay composed on hard hits, provided the setup is dialed. It's practical in an enduro way, reliable, service-friendly, but not a touring bike. With near-stock tank range and a clear off-road focus, you plan fuel and maintenance deliberately. Ride it regularly, and you get a surprisingly predictable 450 package. Ich sehe im Moment keinen Text nach Original malen. Bitte füge den deutschen Voice-Over-Text für Szene 10 hier ein oder lade ihn als Datei Bild hoch. Dann übersetze ich ihn idiomatisch und natürlich ins Englische.